people out. And it was the off season. So the Neptune Inn in Daytona was rented, and all the non-Americans on the ship were sent ashore to the Neptune. And just a few buildings down was a tall condo tower, which was circular. And Jim Dinkowski found an apartment there for Hubbard and Mary Sue to stay in. And so the messengers stayed here. We stayed on the second floor of
this is in Daytona Beach,
lower
right?
building. This is the Neptune Inn at the Daytona Beach in Florida. And then so Hubbard was living in the condo towers, and no one was supposed to know he was there. Nobody at the Neptune Inn. And he would come down and get in his car. He'd just gone and bought some cars, and that's a different story. But he would then drive around the block and come in from the other direction so that people wouldn't always see him coming in from the condos. The people aren't stupid. They can see, and they all kind of knew where he was coming from. But anyway, when they first arrived, I wasn't there. I was on mission at the Advanced Organization Los Angeles with John Eastman. And when we came back, I thought we were going back to the ship. And we got to New York and we were told, no, you need to go down to Daytona. And so we end up down in Daytona. Yes, Mark?
Yeah. When was this? I mean, what year? What
this was, this was September, October 1975.
Okay.
So anyway, so I arrived while I'm gone on the mission. So they're there for a few days before I arrive. LRH with his PR, Laurel Watson, and my sister, Terry, go car shopping. And he buys several different cars, one for him, one for Mary Sue, and Tony Dunleavy gets one, and he pays cash for all these cars. And the cars are registered to somebody else's name, so it wasn't in his name. Plus, he didn't have a U.S. driver's license. He had an international driver's license, which how he kept renewing it, I don't know. The GEO handled that. So he gets in the car, and Laurel's in there and Terry's in there, and they're driving off, and they're going to go to Big and Tall Men's Store. They drive up onto the freeway. Hubbard's driving, and he's going the wrong direction.
No.
Terry and Laurel
driving on the left. He's driving on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah. Well, no, he's going towards the traffic that's coming off the freeway. He's going towards it. And they're like freaking out, kind of, sir, we've got to turn around. We're going the wrong way. and I don't think, well, when he came to New York in 73 with Jim Dinkowski and Paul Preston, he didn't drive. They just, walked everywhere, or Paul Preston did the driving. So he probably hadn't driven in the U.S. since before St. Hill in the 50s. So here he was anyway. So they're freaking out because they go in the wrong direction.
He's never wrong. So he probably said, all those other drivers are going the wrong way, not me.
Right. And then they go to get gas, and he pulls up, and they're sitting there and waiting. And then it's like, what? It's self-serve? What happened to the full service? Because back in the 50s, there was full service at the gas stations.
Well, they had it in the early 70s, too.
Well, this was 75, and the gas station did not have full service. It was self-service. So my sister says he gets out of the car swearing, those bastards, and has to pump his own gas. And then they go to Big and Tall, and Laurel has to come to the rescue on the clothes because he is just picking out, the American look back in those days of the checkered pants that the golfers wore. And well, that's the type of clothing he was picking. And so Laurel's kind of, no, why don't we get this one? And, you know, she's trying to change the style, because on the ship, he wore more of a uniform type of, you know, white shirt, a blue shirt, you know, that type of thing. So here he's now trying to change his style and blend in. So anyway, that's just one story of car shopping and with the car. And then, can you go back to that Neptune shot? Yeah.
Yeah, right here.
The building, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories high, that's the area where the service org was, and they would service, and that's where the internship was and the tech training. So any outer org students or interns coming in to get auditor training and trained on expanded dynetics was all done there. I think it was around the 4th floor where he'd give his lectures. Anyway,
also,
one day.
Well, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but also, didn't you guys as crew, in order to maintain good public relations, didn't you have to spend time on the beach every day?
Yeah, we did, which was great. You can see the beach right there and the swimming pool. So an hour a day would all be out on the beach or in the swimming pool. It was a nice change to have to act normal, and we're all in civilian clothes so that we didn't stick out like a sore thumb. But so anyway, over to the condo on the left side of this picture, I'm with Hubbard, and we're up on the 10th floor, and he's going to come down and come over and do a lecture. So he grabs the things he needed, and I grab some of his stuff, and we go into the elevator, and we're coming down, and he realizes he forgot his sunglasses. So we both look at the elevator buttons. Now, note, I grew up on a ship. I wasn't into pushing elevator buttons and all that kind of stuff. You know, when I'd gone to New York, there was an elevator operator. So I never really looked at that panel. And he obviously hadn't been in an elevator for decades either. So he decides, okay, how do we stop this thing? And he looks and he goes, oh, stop. And he pushes the stop button, and this alarm goes off. And I'm like, oh my God. Because here we are trying to be undercover, you know, no one know that we're in America. And now this alarm is going off, and it's like, oh, Maton is going to come or what? So we're now trying to figure out how to stop the alarm. And we finally figure that out and pull the button out. And we go all the way down the garage, and we'd already worked out when we get down there, I'll go back up, get the sunglasses. He'll get the car and meet me out by where the garage is. Anyway, it was just so funny with the thought of security and people finding us in this elevator with the buzzer going. But that was just another funny story.
That is funny. So I go to the next location.